Hello, this is Steve David Kozich. Tonight's love message, or today's love message, is love starting on the spiritual path. How do you get to experience God? As you know, I'm the Chief Spiritual Officer for Lovemakers Foundation, and we're broadcasting here from beautiful Lake Arrowhead, California, our spiritual headquarters. But I was listening or reading something and just looking at the world in general. And then last week I had discussed that love is our true identity. And then I was reading some spiritual manuscript or then listening to some Christian talk about, Jesus said, I am the way and nobody goes through God to the Father except through me. And so I'm thinking, how do people become spiritual? How do we get on that path to be spiritual? Now, do people even want to get on that path? It occurred to me that we're so infused with the conditioning that we have to do something in this dimension. We're just too busy performing for this dimension, whether it be in your love life, whether it be in your job, your career. And I look back, when I wanted to pass the bar, that took precedence because I wanted to become a lawyer. I wanted to, get a good reputation, whatever else. And if you look around, that's what the world's all about. Whether it's a celebrity, an athlete, the New York Knicks just won the World Championship, NBA World Championship. And of course, they're obsessed with that. All the New Yorkers are obsessed with that. People, maybe you are distracted by everything going in your life, and that's the way it is. But I started thinking how, and again, look at all the religions, and really the religions they really become very provincial, very restrictive, very dogmatic, and have lost their spiritual essence, and that includes Christianity in the United States and around the world. The religious dogma, the rituals dominate and dictate belief. But really, the key is, how do you get in touch with God? When Jesus said, I am the way, nobody goes through the Father except through me, what does that really mean, for example? Well, I'm going to tell you what it means. And I'm going to tell you how to become spiritual if you want to be. And why not? Why not reach a plateau, a peak experience in your life? And that way is through love. To follow Jesus, all that means is you've got to love. What's the great commandment? Love God. What's the second commandment? Love others as yourself. In other words, you better love yourself, self-love, love others, see the love in everybody else, and love God. In other words, love your highest self, love your greatest permutation of what you believe your ultimate reality is. For Christians, it's God. So really love God and do what it takes to love. Love your neighbor. Do what it takes to love your neighbor. Do not judge. Observe. Love everyone. Love yourself and everything that means. For many people, being spiritual, getting on that path feels very mysterious, distant, complicated. And today's youth, they're not buying into the traditional religions, are they? Because they want something with more substance. They see the world around them. They see the materialism, the greed, the pain, the war, the divisiveness, and they don't want any part of it. They just want to chill, be happy, and live in love. But I'll tell you, the spiritual path and getting on that spiritual path begins the moment that you choose love over fear, that you choose love over everything else in your life, and that you do everything with love. Now, to do that, to make that choice, you've got to become aware of what love is. Awareness is the first key. The spiritual path begins with awareness. Awareness that love has many different types. There's spiritual love of God. There's the eros, sort of a passionate, erotic love. There's friendship. There's familial love, etc., etc., etc. There's mother-child love, which is very, very powerful. Probably the closest thing For most of the mothers, that'll result in unconditional love. For example, I know my mom loved me unconditionally. And if more marriages were on unconditional terms, there'd be fewer divorces. But again, people are looking outside themselves. They're looking around for something better, looking around because they're restless, whatever, rather than focusing on love. And again, I get it. There's a lot of distractions in the world. But once you become aware that love is expansive, that there's a way to reach an absolute love stage where there is no fear, where there is only love, and that feeling of love, and that you act in love. But to do that, that path deepens with intention. You have to have intent. You have to say, I choose love. Because once you make that choice, your life will change. Now, to deepen that path, you have to practice love. When I say practice love consciousness, that means be kinder, be more grateful, be more thankful just for yourself and for your ability to be aware of love. To be thankful for where you're at this moment and for everything in your life. To forgive, to be courageous, to be confident in yourself. Those are love consciousness traits. To be non-judgmental, for example, to observe rather than to judge. Thou shalt not judge. That is practicing love. When you do that, what happens is it opens up your consciousness, that is your ability to direct energy and to know who you are. It opens it up to your high self. Now, the saints, people like, St. Thomas of Aquinas, St. Augustine, even St. Teresa, also known as Mother Teresa, opened themselves to God. St. Francis of Assisi, St. John of the Cross. What made them special is they opened up their hearts to God. But the problem there sometimes was that they still had that subject-object relationship to God. Last week I talked about when you find your true identity, you're going to become transformed. That true identity of yours connects with all that is. But to get there, it's a path. You've got to practice love. You've got to have intent to act in love, be love, see love, share love. You have to have that intent, and you have to have it always, not when it suits you. But finding passion for something will give you a clue to what it's like. For example, I like fantasy football. If you really love something, like something, you can take that like and love and identify it, and then apply it to everything in your life. And again, the path blossoms and blooms through service to others. Service leadership, that's what Jesus was all about. Buddha was about service too. Giving love, giving awareness, being there. Really, any tremendous religious or spiritual leader, you have to serve. You have to put the great ones, you put others before yourselves. And I suggest that you do that too, because again, that opens up your consciousness to all that is. In the end, don't wait until you pass away. Again, I've talked about this. When I've talked to the 4 or 5 people I've talked to when they were about to die within the last 48 hours, when I was a practicing estate planning attorney, what did they say? They said, number 1, there's nothing to fear in this dimension. Number 2, you actually get what you want, which I believe is true. And number 3, they want to give and receive more love. Now, to take that even further, really what they want to do perhaps is to become love. And when you look at the NDE, the near-death experience, people who come back, and I've talked to a few of those people also in person, and I've read a lot on that subject. What do people experience? They experience a lot of love. And when they come back, they realize that it's peace and that they can become love in this dimension. And that becomes a new reality, a new, brand new reality. Dear God, know that this moment we choose love. We choose the power of love, the beauty of love, the grace of love in our lives now, this moment. And I declare that love is the most powerful force in the world, and our lives this moment are enhanced financially, relationship-wise, health-wise, and in the service to others, into forgiveness, into more kindness, courage, and confidence in ourselves now. I release these words as absolute truth and humbly thank you, the intelligent power of God, the omniscient, the omnipotent, the infinite intelligence of the universe. Thank you, and release these words as absolute truth. So it is so, amen. You don't need to search for a spiritual path because you're standing on it already. Every breath is an invitation. Every moment in your life is an opportunity to be spiritual by giving love. Because you can't think about it. You can't think your way to God and experience it now. You can wait until you die and become that beautiful consciousness and intelligence out there and enjoying all that is. But why wait? The world needs us now to become love, to be love, to act in love, to share love, to teach love, to receive love, to be love. It needs it now. Every moment's an opportunity. Every act of love is a step forward and will resonate into the universe. The spiritual path begins now with you, with love and the willingness to awaken to all that is. So, as you go this weekend, forcefully act and think love. And you will be amazed. If you ask yourself that Maharshi question, who am I, before you go to bed at night, you're going to wake up and realize that your identity that is love. So go out, be love, and remember, love is always the way. Check out our website, lovemakersfoundation.com. We need more viewers, more subscribers to our videos, because the world can't wait for us. We have to get it out now. You have to go out and get it out now. I'm relying on you, the watchers of this video, and you love makers especially, to do what you actually promise to do your best to do. So give love, teach love, share love, think love, give and receive love. And again, remember, love is always the answer.